The air was thick with silence, the kind that makes your heartbeat sound too loud. As the rusted gates creaked open, Sarah stepped into the forgotten world of the old factory. Dust danced in the slivers of sunlight cutting through broken windows, and the faint smell of decay mixed with something unexpected. A whimper. Her flashlight trembled in her hand. "Hello? Is someone here?" She called out softly. Only the sound of dripping water answered. But then another whimper. Faint, desperate, and real. Sarah's chest tightened. She followed the sound through a maze of collapsed beams and shattered glass until her light landed on a heartbreaking sight. 3 terrified dogs huddled together in the corner, their ribs visible, eyes wide with fear. The place looked abandoned for years. Graffiti on walls, rusted machinery, and nature reclaiming the ruins. Sarah, an animal rescuer who had dedicated her life to saving strays, had been tipped off by a local boy who heard barking near the old factory. She thought she'd find 1 lost dog, maybe 2. But what she found was a family barely clinging to life. A mother dog, weak and limping, stood in front of her puppies, growling softly, protecting them even now. The sound broke Sarah's heart. "It's okay, girl," she whispered, kneeling down, slowly offering a piece of bread from her bag. The mother sniffed it suspiciously before snatching it away and dropping it for her pups to eat first. Sarah's eyes welled with tears. "You've been through so much," she said quietly. The first attempt to approach them failed. The dogs were terrified of people, perhaps abandoned long ago or mistreated by someone cruel. Each step Sarah took closer sent them trembling backward. The next day she came back with food, blankets, and cages. The local community told her it was dangerous. The floor was unstable, the building might collapse at any moment. But Sarah couldn't stop thinking about those eyes, the mix of fear and hope. For 3 days she visited, gaining their trust bit by bit. The mother began to recognize her voice. The pups started wagging their tails when they heard her footsteps. But on the 4th day, a storm hit. The rain poured, flooding the streets. The factory roof began to leak heavily, and Sarah knew she couldn't wait any longer. She rushed back into the storm, water soaking her clothes, wind howling in her ears. The factory's roof groaned under the pressure. "Come on, please," she pleaded, crawling under a beam to reach the dogs. One pup cried out. A piece of debris had trapped its leg. Sarah's heart raced. She lifted the wooden plank with all her strength, freeing the pup just as part of the ceiling collapsed behind her. Exhausted, drenched, and shaking, she managed to coax the dogs into her car. As she drove back to the shelter, she kept glancing in the rear-view mirror where the dogs, safe for the first time, looked at her with silent gratitude. Days turned into weeks. The dogs healed, slowly learning to trust again. The mother, now named Luna, would nudge Sarah's hand every morning, as if to say thank you. The puppies, Hope and Shadow, became everyone's favorite at the rescue center. Months later, the story of the factory dog spread across social media. People came forward to adopt the pups, inspired by their survival. Luna, however, stayed with Sarah, because some bonds are too deep to break. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Sarah sat beside Luna outside the shelter. "You found me as much as I found you," she said softly. Luna rested her head on Sarah's lap, her eyes full of peace. The abandoned place that once held nothing but fear had now given birth to a story of love, resilience, and second chances. The soft sound of barking echoed through the shelter yard as the morning sun painted the sky gold. Luna and her 2 pups, Hope and Shadow, were no longer the trembling souls Sarah had found in that haunted factory. They were healing, not just physically, but inside. But Sarah knew their journey wasn't over yet. 3 months had passed since the rescue. Luna had regained her strength, her fur was shiny again, and her eyes sparkled with a trust Sarah had never seen before. Hope and Shadow had grown into playful, energetic pups who loved chasing butterflies around the shelter. One morning, Sarah received an email from a family who had seen their rescue story online. They lived far away, a quiet countryside home surrounded by fields and trees, and wanted to adopt both puppies together. Sarah's heart ached at the thought of saying goodbye, but she knew this was what love meant. Letting them live free, safe, and happy. Still, Luna sensed something. She followed Sarah everywhere that day, her eyes questioning, her tail low. "It's okay, girl," Sarah whispered, kneeling beside her. "They're going to a beautiful place, I promise." The day of departure came. The puppies wagged their tails excitedly, unaware that they were leaving. Luna, however, sat quietly watching Sarah load their small travel crates into the van. As Sarah bent to hug her, Luna pressed her head against Sarah's chest. One long, silent embrace. Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks. You made it, Luna. You saved them. You gave them life. As the van disappeared down the dirt road, Luna stood by the gate for hours, her eyes fixed on the horizon. That night, she didn't sleep. She lay under Sarah's chair, her heart heavy and confused. The shelter felt quieter without hope and shadow. Sarah threw herself into rescuing more animals, but Luna wasn't the same. She ate less, played less, and sometimes whimpered softly in her sleep, dreaming perhaps of her babies. Days turned into weeks, and still Luna waited. Sarah tried everything, new toys, walks in the park, even bringing her along on rescues, but the spark in Luna's eyes had dimmed. Then one evening, Sarah received a message from the adoptive family. They sent a video, hope and shadow running joyfully across a wide green field, tails wagging, healthy and free. Sarah sat beside Luna and played the video. Luna tilted her head at first, then her tail began to wag slowly. Her ears perked up, and her eyes lit with recognition. She barked softly, almost smiling. That night, for the first time in weeks, Luna slept peacefully. A month later, Sarah got another call about more dogs trapped in another deserted place, this time an old farmhouse miles away. As she packed supplies into her truck, Luna jumped in beside her, tail wagging. Sarah laughed softly. You want to come? Luna barked once, a clear yes. Together, they drove into the fading light, rescuer and rescued, now partners in hope. When they reached the farmhouse, Luna was the first to sense movement. She led Sarah to a hidden cellar door, scratching and whining. Inside, 2 puppies were trapped, frightened and starving. Luna licked their faces gently, as if to say, "You're safe now." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You're amazing, Luna. You're saving others, just like I saved you." Weeks later, those 2 rescued puppies were thriving in the shelter. Luna had become their protector, the same way she once protected her own. She no longer looked back at the road where her pups had gone. She looked forward to the lives she could still help. Sarah often thought about how the story had come full circle. A dog once lost in the ruins had now become a guardian for others. One evening as the sun dipped low, Sarah whispered, "You found your purpose, Luna." And Luna, sitting tall beside her with her head high and eyes glowing in the sunset, seemed to say, "I was never truly lost."